Please turn on sound. Biosecurity Queensland, a government body, have been responsible for eradicating the red imported fire ants which arrived on Australian shores in 2001. Since that time, the programme has been funded to the tune of near $500 million. Given the age of the organisation, the money having been expended, then one would have hoped for something more useful by way of advice to the public who happen to come across these rafting red imported fire ants. Given that, then this short video is for our local community who are having to deal with what is the overwhelming spread of fire ants in our homes, parklands, roadsides, sports fields, etc., and now endemic in Logan and elsewhere. Following is part of a BQ Facebook video describing what these rafting fire ants are, and finally the advice given to the community if they come across them. That advice is basically to keep your distance, take a photo and submit into BQ. In my opinion, that achieves absolutely nothing, and I present some footage of how I choose to capitalise on the opportunity when fire ants raft onto my property, Logan, Queensland.
So please act in your own safety, take a photo, send it through, and don't interact with the fire ant nest directly.
Okay folks, that is advice from behind a desk. I think we can do better than that. These floods, which occur every year, it's the country we live in, actually present an opportunity for us to target these rafting ants and deal them a blow. A rare opportunity, because invariably there will be a queen amongst that pyramid that we see floating on the water. If we can hit that, and I've asked, can we use household liquid to wet the nest and drop them? Can we use ordinary fly sprays? I've asked these questions. BQ should have been arming themselves up to help us in the community and give us advice and do some research in that area to understand how we can capitalize on these floating rafts. We can. So now I'll show you my experience with those, and perhaps, hopefully, you can pick up some ideas from that and implement them yourself. Give it a go. It's better than taking a photograph, because simply taking a photograph and lodging it into a system that's already jammed achieves nothing. I think my outcome is a little bit better than taking a photograph. You be the judge. Well, the rains have stopped, and now the mighty Logan River starts to creep up inexorably as it does in these floods. Well, my prediction was that this Logan River will become a sea of red, and here I am on my block at the moment, which is heading into the suburbs, and all we have to do is look down here and see what have we got. What have we got? 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 Fire ants, fire ants, fire ants, fire ants, fire ants, fire ants. Fire ants. So there's a queen in there somewhere. Fire ants, fire ants, fire ants. And all over the shop. So where was the strategy with BQ and understanding of what we can do when we're in a situation like this with floating rafts? What poisons can we use? Can we use liquid to wet the nest and drop it? Can we use flame? Can we use normal insect spray? All this should be made known to the public well in advance of this happening. Where's the forward planning in this? In this weather, we can't be treating fire ants the conventional way. So what's happened to all the crews that should be out in the field treating? which can't now because of the weather. They should have been teed up, kitted up, the plan put in place, and some thought given the decades you've had to get this right. In this case here, I'm just going to use a gas axe and I'll burn these nests. And you guys should be armed with these. BQ I'm speaking to. God, this is annoying. So annoying. Where are you all? Where is the planning? Okay, folks, here we go. Right, the Queen would have been in that. Well, it's the next day. The mighty Logan River has crept up even more, as we would expect. And here we're seeing the bottom of the block. It's the same block. And interestingly enough, the wind has brought all the duckweed and the fire ant nests to one shore, giving me the opportunity to get at them. The problem is, as you can see, that these ants now quite happily make a track over the top of the duckweed. So what I will do is concentrate on the main nests, as I'm pretty sure the Queen will be in there in each case. And then if I've got gas left and time, I'll target the rows of workers. Although I don't think there's much value in that, because once you've got rid of the main nest, I think, and the Queen's in there, then they become unviable. One of the things you need to do as well, by way of advice I'd give you, is when you see these nests and you can't get to them with a gas axe, place a marker on the ground, on the shore, so when the water goes down, you have a rough idea where these ant nests are likely to be, because they probably won't travel too far away once they land on dry land and when the water subsides. So that in itself is well worth doing. When you get floods, have something close by to mark these things with. Flags, spades, forks, digging into the ground just to stay there, and then you'll have a rough idea, if you haven't been able to get rid of them, where they're likely to pop up. But that could be months before they actually reveal themselves. So the trick is, get them while you can. And here's a classic example. It's a lovely example actually of the way these things can survive. And I have little doubt that that clump there in the center of shot has got a queen in it. So I'll probably not yet on shore. You never can tell, although I'll tell you from experience. Well, there's the alates, there's the flying, there's a couple of males there. And interesting, they're heading towards, rather than the ground, the dry ground, they're heading for that main nest. So that's a good sign. If it was higher up, you would be able to see more of these, because there's a lot down that line there and there's a lot of work in front of me. So let's get down to it. Forgive me for not taking a photograph. Gas torch, as I say, you ought to be out and about now, everyone with a gas axe, gas cylinder. Gas is cheap enough, fire one, golden opportunity to get rid of these things. This strategy should have been publicised, it should have been looked at by BQ. again. Wow, this is a dense raft, this is. The golden opportunity lost. Well, here's an example of a nest with plenty of alates in it. It's worth noting as well, I think, most people with properties, acreages that are likely to flood, will have a gas cylinder on hand. It's worth investing in a torch as well. And here we have alates all over the shop. Golden opportunity to get rid of these things. And as I predicted, and have done so for years, that the floods will bring all these guys into our suburbs through the calm waters, more alates. But here is the golden opportunity, not to take a photograph, get stuck in, and everyone can do so. Everyone can do their bit if they have the equipment beforehand. And if this methodology is broadcast enough, and that's what I'm advocating, not simply to take a photograph and send it in, get some work done. This is a bit disappointing. I actually ran out of gas at this stage, and look at all these alates. None of them appear to be flying, but nonetheless, a great opportunity to knock these guys over. I ran out of gas. So there's a lesson, folks. If we know we're having floods and we intend to do this, then get into the cylinder. So after this, I actually shut down to Bunnings, picked up another cylinder, came back and got right back into them again. They hadn't moved far, they were still there, but they weren't there by the time I finished. Okay, folks, a new gas bottle, ready to rock and roll. I'll get into it. For those who don't know what alates are, they're the winged form of these mature ants. They take off every now and then, and they mate in the air, and these things can actually travel 5 kilometers. There's an example there of the silvertails living alongside quite happily, actually, even in rafting. And Advian actually doesn't kill those silvertails, but it'll certainly kill the fire ants. And any of these things that do end up on the shore, I will hit them with Advian, because the IGRs, in my estimation, are a waste of time. And Distance Plus also has not been all that effective. So my bait of choice will be Advian. Plenty of flyers here, great opportunity to bowl them over, and that's exactly what I'm about to do. Tonight. One observation here is that none of those alates seem to be wanting to fly away. They're damaged very easily with the flame. The wings are very quickly knocked down. I don't know why they don't try and escape. I don't know what triggers really the nests to want to fly and have a mating event. But interesting. The main thing is the torch. The new gas bottle is working fine. And hang around, folks. I'll leave the best till last in terms of melting these nests down. Quite boring, I know, but I love it. It's getting the work done. As I was saying, were it not for the duckweed, these things would be more huddled together, I suspect, and not as fragmented, because this makes harder work with more nests in this fragmented state. If we don't have the duckweed, my observations are that the nests, not being as fragmented, are easier to bowl over, less work. That's enough of that, folks. I'm sure you would agree. This does go on and on. However, just a little bit of advice towards the end here. If you use a gas torch, I quickly learned that the methodology is important when you're burning them, not to start from the middle and out, because it just breaks the nest up. So I quickly learned you need to come in from the outside of the nest and work your way in.